So my number two film on films that shaped my feelings of fall is Fantastic Mr. Fox from 2009. This is a film directed by Wes Anderson, stop motion film, so starring the voices of George Clooney, Meryl Streep, Bill Murray, Jason Schwartzman, Michael Gambon, Owen Wilson, and a bunch of other great actors. Plot summary from IMDb: an urbane fox cannot resist returning to his farm raiding ways and then must help his community survive the farmer's retaliation. So this film, much like the last one I touched on, the Sleepy Hollow, as a lot of the aesthetics here are fall, but instead of the part of fall that is the dead, cold, crisp look that Sleepy Hollow had, this film is very warm. A lot of like what we were discussing with all that heaven allows. There's a lot of autumnal colors. The whole film is like that, and because it's stop motion, Wes Anderson has even more control than he normally does in terms of creating the look of his film. So all those warm colors is that coziness that the positive things that I associate with fall. And I know you like the melancholy, and maybe this movie's maybe not as melancholy to your taste, but I feel there's a thread of that enough for me, at least,
There is,
of some
for sure.
melancholiness of this character of the fox, the main character, because he is really grappling with, okay, like he's got kids now. He used to be this crazy fox running around stealing hens and chickens and everything and leaving like the fast life. But now he's a dad who has to go to a job that he's maybe not necessarily really that into, and he's really wrestling in kind of a midlife crisis maybe way of like reflecting back and be like, oh, is this really is this what I am now? Just this? Am I really an animal, or am I now been domesticated? And how do I fit with these new responsibilities of being a dad and providing for a family? And then how do I suppress my foxy ways of wanting to then continue to go on and rob and kill these chickens? Which, another thing I associate a lot with fall too is a lot of the food that is in this movie.
Yeah.
We have one of the farmers is a goose farmer, and another one's a chicken farmer. Another one's an apple farmer, and all these are things, in the fall. Like, that's apple season. I go apple picking a lot. You get the fresh applesauce, the fresh apples. The Thanksgiving is in the fall. There's a lot of, the turkey and the fowl and all those sort of things. I associate food a lot with fall, for sure. And all these foods and all the things that he's stealing from these farmers, I'm like, oh, that looks kind of good. I want to eat that. But again, putting me in that mindset. But yeah, I think, just getting back to this other theme, I feel that, what the Fox what main character sort of grapples with, I think is something too, like as you kind of go back and reflect on your year, it's sort of like you look at like a year of, people use the analogy of, a year is sort of, the seasons are sort of like part of your life. He's at that autumnal stage of his life where he is really starting to look back and be a little bit reflective on what he's accomplished and what he wants to do. And that is, again, that reflectiveness sort of comes in a lot in the fall. And I think it's a really interesting kind of character piece for him, and all these things that he's going and assessing of what it means now to be a fox for him now that he has to be domesticated. And I think he learns a lot over the course of the film. And I love at the end when he's basically kind of owned up to the fact that, yeah, like I'm now, for lack of a better word, like a suburban fox. Like instead of going and robbing these farms where he's killing geese and chickens and things, him at the very end of the movie, like he's now robbing a grocery store, which is like the most sort of like suburban thing you can have. Like all the geese are already dead. They're already wrapped up, but he's still able to provide for his family. He's still able to steal a little bit. So he's getting a little bit of that foxiness in there, but he's not that animal of, going off and killing actually live geese. So I think he kind of learns to accept both his animal side and his domesticated father side too, which I think is just a really, great kind of character development moment there, but comes from that reflection, from the fall. And yeah, overall, I think this movie is really funny. I love how they, don't swear. They just say cuss instead of using a swear word. I think that's absolutely hilarious. Just fantastic production design. Wes's first stop motion film. And I think, one of his best films, actually. I think it's amazingly beautiful. The character designs are fantastic. The voice acting across the board, like I said, just so good, really beautiful, but very layered too. It's a good kids movie, but it also, again, has a lot of really adult themes in this film too, that really, I think, hit on that melancholiness that come with the fall, but also with getting older. I don't think, a little kid is going to be as melancholy as maybe an older fox who's sort of going through these things. Especially that scene with the wolf, I think is super powerful. Later in that film, when he really learns that real lesson is when he sees that wolf, and the wolf kind of gives him that fist in the air. Is a great moment. But yeah, I think, for me, aesthetically, this film is the cozier side of fall, but then also that bit of melancholy that I do associate with the season of it too.
I love this movie so much. Was so happy to go back and check it out again. I'd seen it maybe a year ago or so. Everything you said kind of hits on point. I don't even know what I could add. You've covered everything, but all I would say is that this is just one of his best. And I have to say, this is probably one of my George Clooney's favorite role. Like, his voice is just so well suited to this character and what this character is going through. I think it's one of his best performances. Everybody, and also like how funny this movie is. Like, I love his friend.
Yeah.
What is his name? I forget his name.
He's not a badger. A mole? Was he a mole?
Yeah, I think he's a mole.
I can't remember the name of the guy. They're so funny. Yeah, when he gets that funny. Like that crazy eyes, sometimes he just gets frozen, gets the crazy eyes.
And then the other kid who shows up, who Jason Schwartzman's character is jealous of.
Oh, yeah, his cousin.
That's such a great dynamic.
Oh, yeah.
And all the things that other kid is up to, with the ski masks, and it's Wes. What can we say? Like, the attention to detail is at another level across the board. So it's just such a treat to be part of this world. And whenever I watch a good Wes movie, I'm always thinking of what a fun life this would be for him and all his kind of partners in crime. You get together a few years, you all lock into each other, and you have similar sensibilities. You're all massively talented, and you create this beautiful piece of art. Feels like an ideal life to me. Like, I wish I were so lucky to have, just talent for anything, but then B, sort of have this group of people that you meet up with. Like, it's the definition of happiness, community, making something that means something. It's just, I always think of that, and I think this movie really exemplifies that.
No, definitely. I think it was the episode we covered Rushmore, right? That was 10 years before this movie came out. Had Schwartzman and Murray, and he's still
same people.
Now 10 years later, he's putting him in this movie. So yeah, that is that little bit of like the players that he likes. The creative, they get that creative energy flowing between them. But yeah, good call on Clooney on the voice acting. I think just gives this character a lot of pathos that from it's not even animation, right? It's stop motion, so the character's facial expressions are even more limited than a human face, but so a lot of it comes through in the voice. In terms of what
everything that
you really
all the
do.
People, and also Meryl. What can I
she's
say
great.
More about Meryl, obviously, but
right.
The two of them, they're dynamic. They're like subtle things. Like, she knows what he's up to. You can feel that in her voice.
Right.
Even before she calls him out on it. Just like little things, It's just so good.
Yeah.
So good.
Fantastic film. Yeah. So if anyone has not seen this yet, it's good for all seasons. So you don't just have to watch in the fall. But a great family film as well for adults. I think it's very, very layered in that sense.
Totally.
Hey there, it's Alex. If you like the review and discussion Karan and I just had, make sure you subscribe to our channel, Movies That Shaped Us, to get full episodes. Every other Wednesday, Karan and I cover a topic around important people, places, events, and moments in our lives, and then explore it through 3 of our favorite movies. Subscribe right now, or follow our podcast on Spotify or Apple Podcasts via the link in the description below. Hope you join us for the journey.